Gunshots echo through the humid air as a massive wild boar crashes to the ground. This is no longer a rare or shocking scene in parts of rural and suburban America. Across multiple states, farmers and licensed hunters are facing a rapidly escalating war against millions of invasive wild boars, animals that are no longer confined to forests, but are now pushing dangerously close to human life. Once hidden deep in the wild, feral hogs are now tearing through farmlands, crossing highways at night, charging toward residential edges, and destroying everything in their path. Cornfields are ripped apart overnight. Irrigation systems are smashed. Fences that took years to build are flattened in minutes. For many farmers, waking up each morning has become an act of dread. According to environmental and agricultural agencies, wild boars now infest more than 35 U.S. states, with population estimates ranging in the millions. These animals are not just destructive. They are highly intelligent, aggressive, and capable of adapting faster than most wildlife species. That intelligence is what makes them especially dangerous. Reports show that economic losses caused by wild boars exceed billions of dollars annually. Crops are destroyed before harvest. Livestock pastures are uprooted. Roads are damaged, increasing the risk of deadly vehicle collisions. In some regions, boars have even been spotted charging at humans when cornered or threatened. Between recent years, sightings of wild boars near residential zones have surged. Prolonged droughts, deforestation, and shrinking natural food sources are forcing these animals out of forests and into human-dominated landscapes. Trash dumps, crop fields, and water sources near towns have become irresistible targets. Wild boars reproduce at an alarming rate. A single female can give birth to 2 litters per year, with multiple piglets each time. This explosive reproduction means that if populations are not aggressively controlled, numbers can double in a shockingly short period. What starts as a small group quickly becomes a destructive army. State wildlife officials now warn that unchecked boar populations threaten not only agriculture, but also ecosystems. Their rooting behavior destroys soil structure, wipes out native plant species, and accelerates erosion. Forest regeneration is halted. Water sources become contaminated. Entire habitats collapse under their presence. This is no longer about sport hunting. What's unfolding across America is a large-scale survival operation, a coordinated effort involving farmers, wildlife agencies, and trained hunters. The goal is simple: regain control before the damage becomes irreversible. But here's the real question. Are the methods being used enough to stop an animal this intelligent, this aggressive, and this fast breeding? Or are we already losing the fight? Stay with us, because what's coming next reveals how America is fighting back and why the battle against wild boars is far more dangerous than it appears. As the damage intensified, authorities realized one hard truth. Wild boars cannot be controlled with a single solution. These animals learn fast. They adapt faster, and every failed attempt makes the next encounter more dangerous. That is why wildlife agencies, farmers, and professional hunters began using a multi-layer response strategy, one designed not for entertainment, but for survival. The first line of defense is regulated hunting. Licensed hunters operate only within state-approved zones, following strict rules designed to protect both people and ecosystems. This is not reckless shooting. Every operation begins with careful population assessments and terrain analysis. High-powered rifles, commonly chambered in calibers like .270 or .308, are selected for accuracy and humane takedowns. Hunters aim for clean, immediate incapacitation, usually targeting the chest or head, to minimize suffering and prevent wounded animals from escaping into populated areas. Engagement distances are carefully controlled, often ranging between 90 and 130 feet, depending on visibility and terrain. But firearms alone are not always an option. In areas near homes, public roads, or protected land, archery hunting becomes a preferred method. Silent, precise, deadly. Experienced hunters wait for hours inside concealed ground blinds, using fruit-based bait like corn, apples, or fermented grain to lure boars into range. When the moment arrives, a single arrow is released. Quiet enough to avoid panic, powerful enough to bring the animal down. Archery requires patience and discipline. One wrong movement can send an entire herd fleeing. Yet when executed correctly, success rates exceed expectations, making it one of the most effective low disturbance control methods available. Then there are large-scale trapping systems, steel cage traps designed to capture multiple boars at once. These traps are positioned along known travel routes near farms and forest edges. Once triggered, the gates close smoothly, preventing escape while reducing stress on animals. A single trap can remove an entire group in one operation. Data shows that regions combining firearms, archery, and trapping see population reductions of up to 50 to 60% within 12 to 18 months. When strategies are adjusted to terrain and behavior patterns, results improve dramatically. Yet even with these methods, the fight is far from over. Wild boars continue to evolve. They change feeding times. They alter routes. They remember danger. And as pressure increases, so does the risk. Because controlling wild boars isn't just about eliminating animals. It's about staying one step ahead of an enemy that never stops learning. And in the next part, we'll reveal what happens when this battle reaches its breaking point. Even as wild boar numbers began to drop, a new and uncomfortable reality emerged. The problem wasn't disappearing. It was evolving. Wild boars started changing their behavior. Field reports showed herds moving at unusual hours, avoiding previously active zones, and venturing into residential areas as cover. Where forests once offered protection, now parking lots, rooftops, and alleys became escape routes. The closer humans pushed, the smarter the boars became. Authorities quickly realized something unsettling. This wasn't just population control anymore. It was an intelligence battle. Despite measurable reductions, fresh invasions persisted. Farmers reported new crop damage. Residents spotted boars just miles from areas declared under control. These animals weren't gone. They were learning. The controversy grew. Conservation groups warned that aggressive culling could disrupt herd structures, triggering unpredictable aggression. Others argued that removing dominant males accelerated breeding among survivors. Every solution seemed to create a new risk. For farmers, however, there was no theory. It was survival, destroyed orchards, ruined irrigation systems, constant fear for workers and families. Local governments found themselves in the middle, balancing public safety, ethical concerns, and ecological responsibility. Control programs became conditional, reviewed, suspended, and restarted based on data trends and public pressure. One truth became undeniable. There is no single solution. Firearms scatter herds temporarily. Archery requires skill and patience. Trapping demands coordination and timing. Only integrated strategies showed lasting impact. And even then, success was temporary without community involvement. Public reporting became crucial. Habitat restoration gained urgency. Education replaced panic. The fight shifted from eradication to management because total elimination was never realistic. Wild boars are resilient, highly intelligent, socially complex. They adapt faster than policies can keep up with. Every operation buys time, not victory. And that brings us to the bigger question. If humans keep encroaching on natural habitats, if climate pressures worsen, if food scarcity grows, will control ever be enough? Or are we witnessing the start of a long coexistence, one that demands smarter planning, deeper responsibility, and difficult compromises? The conflict isn't over. It's evolving. What do you think? Is population control the answer, or merely a pause in a much larger challenge? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, and stay with us for more in-depth documentaries exploring the real battles beyond the headlines.